Welcome to Arizona Living, Your Life, Your Style. I'm your host, Rochelle McCrae. Today we're at the beautiful Taliesin West, which was Frank Lloyd Wright's desert laboratory. I can hardly wait to show you around. But before we get started, let's take a look at what's coming up on the show. Phoenix Children's Heart Center is on the cutting edge when it comes to care. We'll show you why. We'll introduce you to a man making a big impact with his artwork, and designing for small spaces doesn't have to be difficult. Our experts show you how. All that and more on this episode of Arizona Living, Your Life, Your Style. We're here at Taliesin West, and I'm joined by the VP of Preservation, Fred Prezillo. Fred, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for coming out.
What is Taliesin West?
Well, Taliesin West was Frank Lloyd Wright's home, his winter home, school, and drafting studio here in the Sonoran Desert.
What was the property originally used for, and what is it used for now?
Well, when Wright came out here in 1938, he was escaping the harsh Wisconsin winters, where his home is located outside of Madison, Wisconsin. And he really came here to continue his work in his architecture practice, continue the work of educating young architects. He often referred to it as his winter camp.
Okay.
It's where he came to experiment with forms, materials, and architecture, and explore his version of American architecture that we call organic architecture. So today we continue that School of Architecture. It's the School of Architecture at Taliesin, and we are training master degree students, and you can come up and tour the property.
Now, of all of the properties associated with Frank Lloyd Wright, what makes this one so special and unique?
Well, this property is quite unique in the fact that it was a very personal work of Wright's. It was where he would come back every year. He'd look at the property with a fresh eye, and he might say, well, let's change this around, let's move this, let's see how this works. It was a place where he could come and really play with architecture. It was his architectural laboratory, and it's where he just really kind of worked out all of his ideas.
Now, why is it so important, you think, to preserve Wright's work?
Well, Wright was one of the first architects to really break from the conventions and create a truly American architecture. Mm-hmm. So, for us to save Wright's work, it's for us to save a part of American history, the development of how we live in America. So, his work is always site-specific, so it's also important so that we learn how to live in our environment sustainably, and to not destroy the land, but live with the land.
What's great is you offer tours here. What can we expect when we come on a tour?
Well, we offer a variety of tours. You get to really see how Wright worked on this property, explored his work, lived here, and a really beautiful landscape.
If you haven't been out, you definitely should check it out. Fred, thank you so much for coming. And to find out more about their tours, you can head to their website. Phoenix Children's Hospital is 100% about children, and their Heart Center is no exception. Let's take a look at their extraordinary team.
I'm Dr. Joseph Graziano. I'm a pediatric cardiologist here. I'm one of the interventional pediatric cardiologists, and I'm also the division chief of the pediatric cardiology here at Phoenix Children's Hospital. Our Heart Center here at Phoenix Children's Hospital really consists of 4 components. I'm a cardiologist. Cardiology is one component. The other very important component is cardiac surgery, as well as the cardiac ICU and our team of anesthesiologists. The mission of our Heart Center is to care for all infants, toddlers, and children with congenital and acquired heart disease of any kind. The most common heart issues we treat are babies that are born with heart defects, what we call congenital heart defects. Holes in their heart, valves that don't open properly, that require either medicines, sometimes procedures with catheters to help close holes or open valves, and occasionally open heart surgery as well. Yeah, one of the unique aspects of our Heart Center here, and important aspects I would say, is our team-centered approach. And that's very important, for us to have discussions about complex cardiac issues, to have every team member there and involved in the decision just contributes to better outcomes for the patients.
My name is Daniel Velez. I am the Division Chief for Cardiac Surgery at Phoenix Children's Hospital. At Phoenix Children's, we have performed about over 500 operations per year, 301 open heart surgeries. So it's a large volume program. When you look at our cardiac cath interventions, again, they're in the, in the high hundreds, almost 1,000 a year. There's a lot of experience under our belts at Phoenix Children's. The accomplishments that we have been very fortunate to be part of at Phoenix Children's, we were able to do the youngest, perform the youngest transplant in history so far. A baby who was born at 25 weeks, just 6 days after being born. We have done other therapies that are novel and new to the region and the country, using valves of different types to, for replacements, newborn surgery. So it's exciting to be at the tip of the spear in this region in heart care.
We have the largest pediatric heart transplant program in the Southwest, and in fact in 2016 we had the biggest volume of heart transplants in the country. So in terms of outcomes, our center is really one of the leading centers in the Southwest. Surgical programs are ranked on a scale of 1 to 3 stars, and for the last several years we've achieved a 3-star ranking, which is the highest ranking that's possible. And in fact, of about 110 centers in the country, last year there were 11 that achieved that ranking. I think what I'm most proud of is the devotion that we all have to taking care of children. Our outcomes couldn't be what they are if all of us didn't devote really our lives and careers specifically to taking care of children.
Taliesin West is named after a 6th century Welsh poet, which means shining brow. Wright picked the name to honor his Welsh grandparents. Stick around, there's more to come on the show. A high school art teacher uses his artistic skills to paint murals for the city. And we take a tour of the historic missions of southern Arizona. One Arizona high school teacher is hoping to make a big impact with his art. Let's take a look.
I got started in high school actually, and my wrestling coach asked me to decorate the wrestling practice room, and I wasn't sure what to do at the time, and I said, well, I'll give it a shot. So I did some research, made a few mistakes being my first time, but it came out real good, and it's still up there in the high school. What made me jump into the mural world is that I don't like drawing small, I like painting large. And I thought about painting murals, did research on the Mexican muralists, and then I liked their work, and painting large is actually easier for me than drawing small. This mural was originally painted in 2004. The sun here in Arizona is hard on paints, and it was fading. Restored it in 2014. It took about 3 months to repaint. Like every mural is a challenge when you first start off, but this mural was the challenge is because of the features, the facial features. I wanted to get them right, and also the hands and the feet. And actually, it was my idea. I asked the Father Pedro, would it be okay to paint a Last Supper here? This is a famous painting, and he said no problem. The church bought the paint. I volunteered my time when I painted this mural, and originally it took 6 months to finish. The first time I painted this. At Sierra Linda High School where I teach, I had a meeting with the principal, and the idea came up with that mural is that it's a new high school. The gym is empty inside the walls, and he said, we need more school spirit. So he said, do you think you can paint a bulldog on the wall? And I said, sure. So I painted that during the summertime 2-3 years ago, and I used a lifter when I painted that one. And when schools come to our other schools come to play us, they get sort of intimidated, is what I've been hearing, by the bulldog. It's inside the gym, and that's the first one. The second one we just painted this past year was a senior gift to the high school, class of 2017. It's a very large mural. It's one of my tallest murals. Sometimes I have fear of heights, so I got to be very careful. I hold on to the ladder and everything. But the art teacher at the high school also helped me. We have 2 art teachers here at the school. She helped me paint the mural, and some students also did. In downtown Phoenix, we painted the ERP mural we just finished. And the story behind that mural is that in downtown Phoenix, it gets a lot of publicity. Everybody passes by it. It's lots of traffic over there. I've gotten lots of comments about it. As an art teacher, I always tell my students that you're going to make a few mistakes as you start off, but just keep going. When you start off in anything, you're going to make mistakes, but the more you practice, the better you become at painting. I'm still learning things. I make mistakes many times when I'm painting, but you just overcome it and fix it.
Architecture is at the forefront of the beautiful missions in southern Arizona, and the National Park Service has made it their goal to preserve them.
What we celebrate here at the National Park is the blending of the cultures that happened here. We are responsible for protecting this church and the ruins of the Calabasas and Guavavi missions. Well, Father Kino was the first Spaniard that we are aware of to have come into this area. He came to the community of Tumacacri in 1691. What his job was to train the people living here in this land that was now considered part of New Spain, to teach them to be good modern Spanish citizens. That was the job of the missions.
Everything you see in San Javier, all of those marvelous frescoes, was not only, put there as a devotional tool or as a source of beauty and aesthetic pleasure, but also as a teaching tool. Spanish society was a very hierarchical society. All authority emanated from above. When you walk into San Javier, your eyes are drawn forward to the sanctuary, which is the most sacred of sacred spaces, and finally, as in San Javier and Tumacacri, to the dome above, which is an architectural representation of earth looking up towards heaven.
The priest was responsible for bringing to them all the things that they could provide from Spain that they felt people would need to live their best modern life, and that included things like cattle, horses, wheat seed, fruit seeds, new building techniques, adobe, new farming techniques, things that people were doing already here, but that the Spanish were bringing their own way of doing it.
The missions that you see now, like San Javier or Tumacacri, those were built very late in the colonial period. San Javier wasn't started until 1783 and wasn't finished until 1797. Tumacacri was actually never finished, and it wasn't started until the early 1800s. There were churches there before those particular churches, but they were simpler structures.
What we bring to the public is the story of what happened here. And that involves the mixing of the cultures, the Spanish culture, the Yucatan people, the Yaqui people, the Apache people, all these people that came together at this location, and then the resultant culture that came from the mixing of these ideas and these lifestyles.
Taliesin West is visited by over 100,000 people each year and has been named one of the best tourist attractions in Arizona. Want to join the fun? Be sure to head to their website to plan your visit. Coming up on Arizona Living, designing for small spaces, and we explore why Frank Lloyd Wright's work is so significant today. A small living space, it doesn't have to be difficult to design. Our experts have some ideas for you.
To get this small space mid-century modern look, start by focusing on one statement piece. This retro-inspired TV console with the walnut finish, white front doors, and tapered legs sets the stage for an eclectic design that looks fresh and curated. Adding a fun, colorful rug can tie a whole room together and add interest to the space. This geometric pattern rug with a variety of colors adds life to the space and contrasts with the wood tones in the console and the neutral walls. When living in a small space, having functionality is a must, so your furniture pieces need to be streamlined and efficient. The glass coffee and dining tables are visually light and give this space an open and airy feel. The black bar cart is not only used to display some drinks, but also functions as the perfect spot for a record player. That's mid-century modern, small space style.
We're back in Scottsdale at Taliesin West, and joining me now is Jeff Goodman, the Director of Marketing and Communications. Jeff, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
Thanks for being here.
So, it's the 150th anniversary of the birth of Frank Lloyd Wright. How are we celebrating here?
Yeah, so Frank Lloyd Wright's 150th birthday was back on June 8th, and we've been celebrating the whole year and will continue up until his next birthday. We really think the best way to celebrate Frank Lloyd Wright's birthday is to experience his work and his visionary creation. So we created a website. You can find it at our website, franklloydwright.org, where you can find out where a Frank Lloyd Wright property is near you and what events are happening to celebrate. And we really just encourage people to find a Frank Lloyd Wright property, go visit, take a tour, and get a true experience of the brilliance of Frank Lloyd Wright.
Absolutely. Now, 150 years, his work has endured. Why do you think that is?
Well, when you think about it, this is a man who was born just a couple years after the Civil War ended, and his life spanned all the way through the space age. And this was a person who was a visionary the entire time. He was always looking forward. He created innovations that maybe we take for granted today, but when you look at it, they date back all the way to Frank Lloyd Wright's life. So he really defined how we build and how we live in America in a way that we get to experience the world around us.
Jeff, why do you think Wright's work is more relevant today than ever?
Frank Lloyd Wright was so far ahead of his time that only now is our technology really catching up to his brain. So there are a lot of ideas that he had that we really couldn't implement in his lifetime. And you look at a lot of his designs and you would be surprised at the year that they were created.
Absolutely.
They feel modern, they feel contemporary, they continue to push the line and challenge us to think about, how we live and how we build in different ways. He was a revolutionary not just in his lifetime, he continues to revolutionize how we build and live today.
Absolutely. Now talk to me a little bit about the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation.
So the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, it was started by Frank Lloyd Wright himself back in 1940 and has continued all the way through today where, we really are stewards of Frank Lloyd Wright's life, work, and legacy. And we really take a lot of pride in making sure that we're communicating with the world around us the brilliance of Frank Lloyd Wright, why he continues to be relevant today, and how he continues to make an impact on how we build and live in America.
Absolutely, and this place is spectacular. I encourage all of you to come out, take advantage of this great information that Jeff has given us, and make sure you book a tour. For more information, be sure to head to their website. Thank you, Jeff, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Stick around. We have more to come on Arizona Living, including a mom's best friend, the braid. It can help make the mornings less stressed. We're here at Alter Ego Salon in Tempe, and I'm with owner stylist Tawny and her daughter Nakota, and you're going to show us how to take a kid's braid and turn it into something fantastic.
Yes, and it's really easy.
Great, go.
Okay, I'm going to show you this braid. This is our bubble braid, and if you can do a ponytail, you can do this. It's not really even a braid.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to demonstrate, Nakota. You can have a seat over here. And so I'm demonstrating on a mannequin head just so we have a little bit, so I can do it a little faster. What we're doing is I'm going to separate the top. You want to take it from the temples and make this top section come out. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first put my ponytail in, and I'm going to use these little painful plastic thingies. You can substitute these out for a much stronger or something that's a little bit more blingy.
Okay.
If you've got different colors, you can take them down rainbow because they do show.
Okay.
So you take your first one.
Okay.
And then you take that and you pin that out of the way. You're going to need a clip.
Okay.
Take the next section.
So you're just kind of taking sections, making small ponytails all the way down the back of the hair.
Yeah, we're going to do a series of ponytails.
Okay.
Now I'm going to show you this step, and then it's just a repeat after that. It's all repetitive.
Okay.
So we're going to take that. We're going to put this ponytail in.
Okay. I'm terrible at braiding. This is fantastic.
Girl, you could do this on your own hair.
Oh, wow. Well, now I can. Now you're showing me.
All
Okay,
right,
so
so
what's
you
next?
got two. You just separate this top one.
Okay.
You pull the bottom one up.
All right.
Through. I'm try not to get the top together. So now you've got this set.
Right.
Now you're going to bring another ponytail and join everything together.
Okay.
Okay.
This is super easy. It was literally 3 steps, and you just go all the way down the bottom.
Yep.
And voila, all done. It looks very cute. Thank you, Tawny. We appreciate the tip.
You bet.
We want to thank everyone here at Taliesin West for letting us explore here today. If you haven't been to this architectural marvel here in Scottsdale, it's a must-see. Not only can you take tours, some of the spaces are available for events. This national treasure and historic landmark can be the venue for those special events in your life or a corporate meeting. For more information on Taliesin West, just head to their website. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Arizona Living, Your Life, Your Style, where we help you live your best life.